Before we start, just a quick reminder. The views and content shared on this podcast are for informational and entertainment purposes only and are not a substitute for professional advice. Please check the full disclaimer in the show notes for more information.
Welcome to Self-Centered, the podcast that's all about you. We're your hosts.
I'm Allie, a therapist and life coach.
And I'm Katie, a fitness coach and personal trainer. We know what it's like to feel burnt out, taken for granted, and like your life revolves around everyone but yourself.
By learning to trust yourself, prioritize your needs, and set healthy boundaries, we help you break free from guilt, overfunctioning, and toxic patterns that keep you stuck in relationships and a life that doesn't truly serve you.
Join us each week as we dive into the tools, stories, and mindset shifts you need to create a life that centers you.
Because being self-centered isn't selfish, it's essential. So 2025 is coming in hot.
Real hot.
Real hot. Real hot. Like, time is moving so fast. They say that it gets faster as you get older. Yeah, new year, time for resolutions, time to get inspired, make big life changes, eating healthier, working out, saving money,
setting boundaries.
Yeah, setting boundaries. Yeah. All the things. So we usually start off motivated when we work toward goals. And by we, I mean not just you and me, but humans in general, all the listeners as well. So we're usually motivated and excited at first, but then within weeks to months, it fades. And then we tend to actually give up and never keep that resolution. So I actually looked it up and I want you to guess. Do you know what percentage of people keep their resolutions?
Probably 6 to 12%.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, you probably actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you're a fitness trainer. You've observed the data. So you're correct. On average, it's 9%. 9%.
Oh, damn, I'm actually really impressed that I nailed that though.
Yeah.
That is like so crazy to think about though, because then you have to enter into the new year thinking, oh, damn, am I going to be the 1 in 10 or the 9 in 10?
I know, right? Yeah. Wait, the 1 in 10?
1 in 10 to actually reach their goals, 9% close to 10%.
Percentage to fractions.
I can math.
I'm really good at feelings, though. I have other good qualities.
I work with numbers all day. It's okay.
Yeah, right. So let's see. Okay, can I tell you some other stats?
Tell me more.
I just thought this was fun. In a 2014 study, 35% of participants who failed their New Year's resolutions said they had unrealistic goals and that was why. 23% of people forgot about their resolutions, which I can't relate to for sure. About 1 in 10 people who failed said they had too many resolutions. So it's like too many goals. Let me see if there's anything else that's fun. There's statistics specific to 2023. 87% were confident in 2023 that they would stick to their resolutions, but by February, only 22% had stuck to them.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And the most popular resolutions for 2023 are tied between improving physical health, which is 20% of resolutions, saving more money, which is 20%, and then it was exercising, which was 19%, eating healthier, 18%, being happy, 17%, which isn't specific at all, and losing weight, which was 17%.
Yet still all of those numbers, for the most part, aside from saving money, all still relate back to your physical health.
I know.
Yeah, like even the being happy one, when I have clients come in for consultations, more often than not, they feel unhappy because they don't feel like their body is a reflection of their soul.
Oh.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
The clients that I've had that have gone through like crazy physical transformations, they come to life simply because now they feel at home in their body. And that could look like any number of things. It's not just weight loss. Like sometimes it's just confidence that comes with it. They're like, oh yeah, I like have this desire to be able to dance and throw myself around and be able to like have joy with that. But oh shit, every time that I dance, I throw my back out. Like,
Yeah.
like that's it's an alignment thing for so many people, and it comes down to, oh, do I feel
For
happy with myself as I
sure.
am? Yeah.
Oh, I love the way that you put that, that their body doesn't align with their soul. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I've been thinking in terms of I'm so looking forward to being in a place where I can work to the extent that I want to on my physical health and getting stronger.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you really just hit the nail on the head with, you want your body to align with your soul. One of the things that I've been thinking about is that I just don't feel like myself.
Yeah.
Well, I think the positive piece, though, is that I don't feel bad about myself. I don't connect my body shape or body status with my value. So that's good.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
of course, I want to feel like myself and have my body align with my soul.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. All right. So this episode is about how do you become the 9%. So you want to be able to follow through on your goals while centering yourself in the process. So that's what we're going to discuss today. So you can successfully take the action that you need to create an aligned life while prioritizing balance and well-being instead of burning yourself out or giving up.
I'm excited
Mhm.
about this one.
So we're going to talk first about what gets in the way of working toward your goals, of staying the course. There you
Yeah,
go.
staying consistent and staying on top of, the actions that get you to the goal.
And then we'll talk about what to do or our thoughts on what to do instead. And then maybe we can give some examples for ourselves of things that we want to.
I have plenty of examples.
Okay, great.
Yep,
All
great.
right. First reason that we give up on our goals, all or nothing thinking. Similarly, a perfectionistic mentality, right? So we
Oh
have these
boy.
like rigid expectations for ourselves, and it's like, I'm either going to be perfect and completely do everything rigidly exactly how I expected. And then the second that there's a setback or enough of a setback, then I give up because
Yeah.
it's all or nothing. So I can't do all. So now it's nothing.
Yeah. That I see that happen so much, and I'm gonna have a hot take that's probably gonna like ruffle some feathers, but that's
Ooh,
one of the main reasons I hate 75 hard. Every
what is
year,
that?
75 hard. Oh gosh, I don't even remember who created it. It was created by somebody, but it's essentially for 75 days, you do two workouts a day. One
Oh,
has to be outdoors. They each have to be at least 45 minutes. You have to drink a gallon of water a day. You have to follow a meal program, and you have to read for at least 10 minutes or some sort of personal development type of thing. There was a few other things that went along with that. I think no alcohol is also listed on that. And like
mm,
all of those choices independently could be really good things. Like, yeah, get outdoors. That's a great thing. Exercising obviously is a great thing. Abstaining from alcohol, a great thing. Reading and enriching your life with, ways to grow mentally, great thing. But it requires such an aggressive time commitment. And it's like, oh, okay, well, if I have 12 things on this list I have to commit to every day, one, is that even realistic to accomplish for 75 days straight? Because that's the goal. It's doing it
yeah.
for 75 days. And two, if you miss one of those days, mentally it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm already two workouts behind, a gallon of water behind, 10 minutes on my personal development. And you're exhausted because you spent the last however many days burning yourself out doing way too much all at once.
So it is supposed to be consecutive. You're supposed to
75
do.
consecutive days. Yeah. There's no days
And
off.
physically, that's not even healthy because there's no
It's
time for
not.
recovery. Your muscle needs to repair. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You're the expert on that.
Yeah, no, no, no. It's super unhealthy as far as like a way to execute fitness and like a lifestyle change. And that's generally what I tell all of my clients is if you can't see yourself doing this specific routine for life, it's probably not the routine you should be doing.
Yeah. It's really instead of thinking about this as all or nothing thinking is and perfectionistic thinking is obviously unsustainable. It's unrealistic. And so I love this idea of this is going to be my lifestyle. So can I maintain this lifestyle? This is going to be my life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because that's what you're trying to create is a life that you love. Well, if you don't love the process to get there, you're just going to go back to the way that you were beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
What's really funny is even for us, when we started this podcast, we said this exact same thing, that we had
Yes.
to adamantly choose not to be perfect, to
Over
just
and over
show up.
again.
Yeah,
Still,
over and over. We still have to actively choose not to be perfect because, I mean, you do get burnt out that way. And then you
hmm
resent the thing that was supposed to bring you joy and was supposed to bring you life. And it's like, no, we gotta just show up and have fun with it.
for sure. That it just shows how much it's a practice because you and I, our authentic selves are perfectionists. I
Yeah.
don't think that's necessarily because of our conditioning, meaning our experiences. I think our experiences have definitely probably made it worse before we
Yeah.
figured out how to cope with it. But I do think being perfectionistic is just part of who we are. And honestly, a lot of it isn't just when we think about perfectionism, I think a lot of the times we think of it as, oh, someone who's overly critical of themselves and
Yeah.
puts so much pressure on themselves, which obviously is true. But I think there's also, as a perfectionist myself, a perfectionist in recovery, right? I just get so inspired and think this is how great it could be. I have such a vision. I'm an idealist. And so the perfectionism for me often actually doesn't have to do with, well, anything less than perfect isn't good enough. It's more, I really want the ideal.
Yeah.
And I hyper focus on the ideal and forget to think realistically. So I don't think it's always the way that we stereotypically think about perfectionism.
I love that you brought that up because I think there are more perfectionists out there than maybe totally acknowledge. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
I'm certain that there's a high proportion of perfectionists that recognize themselves, but yeah, like giving up on things or quitting on things because you want the excellence and there's like a sadness that
for
maybe it's not
sure.
there yet.
Yeah, and I love having the perfectionistic part of me as long as I'm in charge of it, right? It's
Yeah.
smaller than me, whereas before it was bigger than me. And because now it's almost like I can play with it. Like, oh my gosh, this vision that I have is so amazing. I mean, you and I have such a vision for the podcast,
Hmm.
and I'm so excited about what this is going to evolve into. Not that I exactly know what it is, because I
Right.
think we're open to that, but there's so many different ideas we have and inspiration. And so I love that perfectionistic part of me that I can almost tap into to inspire me and get excited. And then I can influence it or be in charge of it
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that it doesn't then negatively impact me. Yeah. All right, the next reason is going hard and burning yourself out. You've probably seen that as well in
Yeah.
fitness.
Yep.
Yeah. So often this happens when we're overly specific with our goals. Obviously, we want to be specific. I remember reading one of those 2023 goals, right? Was just be happier. We want to be more specific than that. Like, what's going to contribute to you being happier? But we don't want to be so specific that we're inflexible and unrealistic, similar to the all or nothing thinking and perfectionism. Because if it's, oh, it has to be this exact way and I have to go 75 hard, then
Yeah.
you're gonna burn yourself out.
And I think that ties back to the conversation about like, what do you want the lifestyle to look like? When I think about my goals and like what I want to accomplish in, let's say, 2025, I'm thinking about like, what do I want the sum of the year to reflect on myself
Oh,
about?
yeah.
So, like, my 2024 year was about like healing my mental health. So, that was a really broad goal. But then it breaks down to specific things that I could
Mm-hmm.
identify, like, okay, I want to go to therapy. I want to get back into that. I want to practice setting my boundaries, that sort of thing. And if we don't have that balance between, well, what would feel aligned for me? Like if I said, okay, my 2024 goal was, I don't know, to run an ultra marathon, which is a goal, but that's not my 2024 goal. But if I said it was to run an ultra marathon, and I also know that I'm dealing with all of these struggles of time and boundaries, and I'm like, yeah, I totally don't feel good about setting up, 5 hours a day to train.
Mm-hmm.
Like that doesn't feel good in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Then That's probably not actually my goal for the year. That's just a cool
Mm-hmm.
idea that I should put on the table for later. But
Mm-hmm.
if I don't like the look of myself having to accomplish the goal, like the process along the way, it's
Yeah.
probably not it.
Yeah, that also makes me think about there are prerequisite goals before we can achieve the next goals. So I think often we just get excited and it's like, oh, I want to do this. So for me right now, I really want to get stronger and maybe lose a little bit of fat, but really I want to focus on lifting weights. I don't even really need to focus on running for fitness. I just run for my mental health. So I probably wouldn't have a goal around that because I'm going to do it anyway. And then I walk my dog all the time, but I might walk a little extra with maybe a weighted vest or something like that. And
Yeah.
then continue to eat well, which is just whole foods and things like that. But right now, there are limitations in my life that get in the way of me being able to do all of that. And starting this podcast was a heavy lift as well on the front end. I think we're
Yeah.
actually about to, I think we're done with that. I think
Yeah.
we're actually into just sustaining it mode, which is awesome. But I want to really get into the working out and all of that once I feel like I even can consistently have that time. And
Hmm.
so the prerequisite goal for me is clear time.
Yeah.
Work toward
Yeah.
clearing that time. And then the goal after that would probably be creating a habit. Like I'm gonna maybe work out this many days a week, but it's not my end goal kind of thing. So you want to
Yeah.
break it down, prerequisite goals first.
Our goals sound so similar.
Oh my gosh. Well, makes sense. We're besties.
Yup.
Cool. Okay, ingrained patterns. So basically limiting patterns, things that get in your way, reacting, overreacting when things don't go well, and just like what you're used to is more comfortable. And so if you don't really have a plan for how am I going to deal with the discomfort, how am I going to deal with these things when they come up? What are my habits and how might they get in the way? If you're not thinking about any of that and what are you going to do to address that, then it's going to wipe you out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what's it called? Like preparation is number one for anything. If you don't have a
Hmm.
plan, if those who fail to plan,
Plan to
plan
fail.
to fail. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I heard, what is it? It's like the 6 P's or something. It's like proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Ah, yeah, I love that.
So you want to expect, well, we'll get into that, but you want to expect that that's going to happen and get ahead of it, make a plan. All right, another one, it isn't your goal. So often we do things because conditions of worth or just societal pressure. I'm supposed to want this or I'm supposed to work toward this, so I should do that. If it's not your goal, it's going to be really hard to work toward it and consistently do that and not get burnt out and have it be worth it, really. Okay, next one. There's only two more. The next one is it isn't the right time, you aren't ready, which I think we kind of covered a little bit with our prerequisite goals or looking at your life situation and does this make sense right now or are there things I need to do ahead of it? And then the last one, and this is my favorite one, is about mindset.
Okay, okay.
Katie knows I have thoughts about mindset. So, and I'll get into them, but I just see so much in the coaching space, especially, and all over social media of if you're struggling to work toward your goal, if you're a business owner and you're getting frustrated or your marketing isn't working or whatever, then you just need to have a positive mindset. You just need to believe in yourself. And the reason that I don't like that is because ignoring quote unquote negative feelings can actually lead you to misinformation. And
Mm,
ignoring your feelings is ignoring yourself.
yeah,
Ignoring your feelings is often ignoring your intuition that's pointing you to maybe this actually isn't right for you
yeah.
or this isn't right now.
Hmm.
And that happened for me last year. I signed up. So once I my loans were forgiven and I left the nonprofit world. I, created my business and I hired a marketing coach, and something felt really off. And the coach just kept telling me, well, this is going to be hard. You just have to push through. And I'm like, okay, but I am a hard worker. Like, this isn't about it being hard. Like, yes, it's hard and I can do hard things, but this is hard. Like, okay, this podcast it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And
Yeah.
I guess you could call it hard. It actually doesn't feel that way for me, but it does feel like a lot of work and effort. And that's the right type of hard because it's aligned for me. It feels
Yes.
so, I know it's right. I just absolutely know. My entire soul is lit up from it.
Yeah.
But when I was working with this marketing coach, it was like, okay, well, you have to figure out what your niche is. Your niche needs to be something that people want. So you need to put a bunch of things on Instagram and then see what people start reaching out to you for. And they started reaching out to me for relationship advice and relationship help. And while it is true that so many of the clients that I've worked with, after working with them, they did meet their person and they did say, this never would have happened if you and I didn't do this work together. And I do believe that that's what led to that. It wasn't aligned with me to be doing that. Oh God, I'm just even thinking about it is stressing me out because I pushed myself. My mental health was not good. And it's all because I pushed myself through that. And it's because this coach just kept being like, mindset, it's going to be hard. Just push through it. And so, yeah, that just didn't feel good. And again, I'm saying, oh, it's because of this coach, but it's because I colluded with the coach in not saying, wait a second, I need to tune into my intuition, which eventually I did. But I'm a big believer in the beginning, be open-minded that someone might be right.
Hmm.
But then I was right. So,
You know what's really
um,
funny about that story, though,
what?
is literally just how you explain that. The first thing that I got from it was that coach was asking you to leave your seat and base your decisions off of other people's opinions, which
Yes.
isn't in alignment with you at all.
Right.
Like
Yes.
your heart and soul
It's,
is to identify yourself and what feels right to you and
yes.
follow your gut and follow your intuition.
Yes.
And if
Yes.
you're asking for the opinion of social media of, okay, just wait and see like who's coming
Hmm.
and what they're saying is really valuable to you, like throw a bunch of darts on a dartboard and see who comes back and says, this dart was it.
Yeah.
Like that's not about you at all. That's basically
No.
tapping into, oh, hey, continue to be a people pleaser, by the way.
Right. Yeah, it was a really weird time. And then when I had to create these in-depth carousels on Instagram and these reels, I didn't feel connected to it at all. And I would
Yeah.
bring that up with her because I was hoping that she would be a clear mirror for me. That's what I want in the people that I'm working with, a coach or a therapist. I want them
Mhm.
to be a clear mirror and that's what I am for my clients, where I can say, hey, something's going on for me. I really want to explore what that is. So can you reflect back to me what you're hearing and what you're seeing in me and what I'm
Yeah.
saying so I can get closer to it and understand it? But she just kept saying, no,
You're not trying
don't
hard enough.
you're not trying hard enough. Yeah. And I wish that it was, oh, wow, okay, you don't feel connected to this. What might this be about? And just really helping me through that, which I don't even need that much. I just need you to not keep deflecting when I keep trying to come back to myself. So that was a bummer, but I'm glad that I figured that out because now creating content is so easy and I have so many ideas. It's so interesting this time around because now I'll be on Instagram and things will come up, the algorithm knows I'm a business owner and it's like, oh, this is a way to structure reels or here are hooks. And I immediately can connect to, oh, that's how it would work for me with the podcast. And because
Hmm.
I'm so excited and connected to the podcast. And so it's intrinsic motivation. A couple other things about mindset.
Tell us more.
So mindset can lead to unrealistic expectations too. Because it's
Yeah.
like, Okay, just ignore that voice inside that's saying, this isn't working for me, this isn't realistic. And so then you keep ignoring that voice and you keep pushing yourself, trying to be okay. And then you feel inadequate and you feel like a failure if and when it doesn't work out. And if it does work out, well, you might have just reached a goal that wasn't yours because you weren't
Yeah.
listening to yourself, right? And then last piece would be, I think it can lead to this pressure to perform positivity or to perform, I have this type of mindset. I don't let anything bring me down, you know? And that's so inauthentic. That's not real life. And I
Hmm.
think it's so much more important to say, wow, I was having these really tough thoughts. Here's how I worked through them. Oh, these thoughts were actually telling me something, so I'm going to adjust and go with that. And these thoughts, yeah, those were just lying. So I'm just
Yeah.
gonna, right? We can end up feeling like a fraud if we keep performing this mindset, and that just leads to more stress. What?
Okay. This is so funny that you say all of this. So I don't even
She
know where
just
to
did
start
the
with this.
mind blown thing for everyone
Yeah.
listening.
Oh God, I might have to have you repeat some things for me to like reconnect. I'll say what I'm remembering first, and then if there's more,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll circle back. But there have been some like realizations that I've had recently in therapy. And one thing that I've always known about myself is I feel like I have massive imposter syndrome, like massive imposter
Mm.
syndrome, which is one of the reasons I'm so data and information driven because it's very concrete. And I can say, okay, well, if I have more education, more background, more certifications, more check boxes, basically check marks in the box, then I can't possibly be an imposter, right? And one of the things that I have always been is like super positive because of a lot of mindset work, right? And in some ways, like I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for considering that things might go well. But it always, as a person, I always felt kind of at odds with myself because I'm super anxious and dreading and spiraling on all the possibilities of ways that it goes wrong. But my outward conversation is all the ways it goes right.
Mm.
So like if someone was talking to me about a situation, I'd be like, "Oh, but it could be better or it could be worse." And so like just look at the positives and like that's the talk that comes out. But if a situation was being imposed upon myself, I'm spiraling on all the negative possibilities.
Yeah.
And so, how I realized this was actually through brain spotting. Interestingly enough, the gaze spotting. You had mentioned the gaze
Gaze
spotting, and
spotting. Yes. I think
yeah,
that's the best fit for you.
it really is. And it made me super self-aware. And for people who don't know, can you give a quick description of
Sure.
what
Yeah,
that is?
so brain spotting is a therapy modality. It's also a coaching modality because it can be used for performance. And it came out of EMDR, which stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is a type of therapy, but it evolved out of that and also relates to finding a spot that you look at. So a spot meaning just you're looking in a certain direction. And
Mhm.
sometimes you can move around, but it has to do with the eyes and where your eyes are positioned. And the optical nerve connects to the subcortical areas of your brain, which are the subconscious and emotional areas of your brain, which is really what we want to get to most of the time, especially in therapy. And then also with sports performance, for example, people get the, what's it called, where they get there's something that happens where, forget what it's called, but it's something that's like, it's some kind of tick or something. Oh, it's going to bother me. But anyway, so what it can do is it will have you process subconsciously. And often, I mean, you don't even have to talk ever, but sometimes people do talk and it can be really trippy or it can be really boring. And sometimes it feels like nothing happens. But it works on your brain to change the brain and process through any of these experiences or emotional beliefs that could be contributing the way that you're thinking and feeling and behaving now in your everyday life, which can improve your ability to work towards your goals and just feel better.
Yeah. So the short answer to that is the eyes are a window to a soul. And,
Yes.
yeah. And so what I realized in therapy, I discovered that there was one spot that my gaze always went to, whether we were actively brain
Mm-hmm.
spotting, like that would create response in my body,
Mm.
or if we were just conversing about situations that I was dealing with, everything went back to this one spot, this one spot, this one spot.
Yes.
And all of the emotions and experiences associated with that one spot were very negative and very anxiety inducing.
Mm-hmm.
And then anytime that I had neutral or positive feelings was this other spot over here, on the other side
Mm.
of my vision, right? And it was difficult because I didn't ever feel like I could connect to the confident feeling. My therapist kept saying, well, what makes you feel like, what do you feel when you're confident? I was like, I have no fucking clue. I don't feel
Oh,
confident.
you're like, I can't access that right now. I
Yeah.
access that inadvertently.
Yeah, and even when that happens, like I can't like it's almost like a flow state, like I feel out of body, right? Uh,
Mm.
so when we were talking about the negative things we were processing, you have lots of thoughts you're going to give me
Yes, I
later, I'm
do,
sure.
just because I know you. So I'm like, all right.
But so I was realizing not only were all of the things I was talking about in therapy at this singular spot, but throughout my day-to-day experiences, my eye gaze was going to those spots, that negative, and I
Oh,
was experiencing anxiety relative
yes.
to, okay, so if I was, anticipating a conversation with a client, my eye gaze went to there and I started feeling this like, oh gosh, like I'm nervous about the trajectory of this conversation. Oh, this client, may or may not have a positive interaction. Or like if I'm thinking about a conversation with my significant other, same sort of thing. My eye gaze went to there. I'm thinking of all the ways that it could go wrong.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, fuck. I'm a pessimist. And that
Oh,
was like my realization, which then I was flipped on the script. I'm like, I'm not like, I'm optimistic because I'm essentially gaslighting myself on that thought process that I'm trying to deny that I've had these negative feelings for so long. And I'm just trying to self-talk over them and say, no,
yes.
it's fine. Like, you have a positive mindset, positive mental attitude. You're going to be okay. And it never felt aligned, right? I could
Yes.
say it all day long, but then the real life answer was, okay, well, I'm still super anxious and I'm still like struggling with this thing. And now,
Mm-hmm.
so long story short, my therapist and I are like, okay, well, let's start trying to put more thoughts in over here in your positive brain spot and like work through
Mm-hmm.
that. And that has been helping like a massive amount. And like the more that I've been like working through that, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have to be, I don't have to feel unaligned with myself and like there's an imposter syndrome going on. Some of it is framework, but also am I putting my framework into that space?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I know,
yes, for
right?
sure. And that probably comes from that pressure to perform positivity because toxic positivity is a value in our culture.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about conditions of worth, we learn you should be positive, and if you're not being positive, it's because you're not committed to your mindset and you're letting your mindset take over. When
Yeah.
really it's, well, actually, I'm ignoring these very important things that are going on that I need to process through. And this is why people unexpectedly have panic attacks, and everyone's like, oh, well, you were so positive all the time. I can't see it. It's like, well, yeah, you've been ignoring this for so long. It had to come out somehow, you
Yeah.
know? So just really quick before I forget, it could be interesting for you to practice going back and forth between those two spots.
Yeah.
Just to start integrating. It makes sense I'm feeling this way because validate yourself and what's also true is,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have started to do more of that, like as I've
Hmm.
become aware of, okay, the and conversation. You brought this up
The
to me
and.
yeah, the and conversation. You brought this
Yes.
up to me so long ago. And when I was going through therapy during my divorce and after my divorce and trying to
Hmm.
work through some things that I was dealing with there, one of the things I really struggled with was I was so angry and so hurt by my ex-husband while also feeling love and compassion for him. And
Hmm.
I was like, I don't know how I hold this. Like, I want him to
Mm.
be prosecuted. And
Yes.
I also am so sorry for him. And like,
Mm-hmm.
like that back and forth. And so my, therapist at the time introduced me to this concept of parts, that you can have a part of you that exists way and a part of you that exists that way. And then you can like brought that together and constantly like you kind of changed my self-talk of because I used to always be a person that would say, this is happening, but and that
Oh,
implies that one might be stronger than the other, or one might be true while the other is not actually true.
yeah.
And so I started changing that framework and trying to change my thought process about it of, okay, yes, this feeling is true that I didn't feel so great about something. And it's also true that I want to feel this way and I do feel this way. And I have to work on finding where they both exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. I'm
Yeah.
also just so glad to hear that things are going well in therapy. Yay. And you're
Yeah.
starting to feel better.
Yeah, we're getting
I
there.
love that. And I will talk about where mindset does make sense because I'm
Yeah.
not against mindset wholesale. I'm just against it when it's gaslighting yourself and
A hundred
disconnecting you
percent.
from yourself.
And I
So,
think that is so important. Like that's the takeaway from mindset is like we don't want to be so entrenched in mindset work that we're denying our feelings
yeah,
and
that
that we're
we're
denying our
disconnected from our bodies and only in our heads. Like,
because like one of the things like saying you can do hard things or like
hmm.
that is it considered a mindset tactic
Yeah,
of
right.
okay, you can challenge yourself, you can do hard things. And that's acknowledging this is challenging. I
Hmm.
agree that it's challenging
Hmm.
and the takeaway is worth it. So I'm willing to tolerate the discomfort. It's not ignore the discomfort. It's yes, this sucks.
Yes. At some point, we'll get more into body, not in this episode, but in the future. But that brings me to if we ignore these feelings in our body, we also don't get to release them. Emotions are a
Ooh,
tunnel, and we need to feel them in order to move through them and come out the other side so that
yeah.
then the emotion is behind us. If
Hmm.
we don't do that, the emotions stay inside us and we just keep adding to them and they just keep moving everywhere inside of us and it just does
Yeah.
not feel good. Yeah. So we'll come to that. Okay, great. What do you do instead?
The fun
All
part.
right. Here's how we recommend centered goal setting.
Yeah.
Self-centered goal setting. All right. So instead of having an all or nothing perspective on goals, set a broad intention with flexible methods. So Katie actually gave an example of this because you wanted to work on your mental health in 2024.
Hmm.
That's a broad intention. And then you had these flexible methods of, okay, there's therapy and there's probably other things that you've been doing as well,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, physical health is something that I spent a lot of time working on as well of like, okay, I need to get back into exercising. I need to prioritize sleep. I need to, do the things that go alongside working on my mental health. And then of course now it's expanding into boundaries and realizing that I'm equal and I can make, decisions that
Yeah.
support me.
I think similarly, the flexible methods allow you to adapt when circumstances change or when your intuition says, oh, something needs to be tweaked a little bit, because so then you can be flexible. Also, letting go of attachment to the outcome, which is something that you and I are doing with the podcast. I
Yes.
know for sure the outcome is going to be great, whether it's, I mean, it already is great, but that's the other thing too, right? Is that it's like we're focused on, yeah, we're gonna talk about what do we want to talk about this week, and then we're gonna talk about it, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be fine, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and we're gonna see what happens, and we'll see what happens in 6 months, we'll see what happens in a year, and we'll respond to that. We don't have to have everything all written out. So letting go of attachment to the outcome just allows, there's just you can kind of let go of pressure and let it evolve naturally, which I think feels a lot better.
Yeah, I see that a lot with my fitness clients as well. In it impacts their self-talk and their motivation.
Mm,
The fastest one that I can think of is like running.
mm,
I was actually just talking with a client, multiple clients, but specifically one about this today in terms of running, that they had this perception of, okay, well, if I'm a runner and if I want to be running, this is the speed that I should be running at, right?
mm.
And you ever hear like, okay, you need to do an easy run, a slow, easy run, slow pace,
Yes.
easy run. And if I was to say, hey, go do a slow pace, easy run, and you do it, you come back, and then I say, okay, how much longer could you have done that? Usually it's like, oh God, I'm a little gassed. Like maybe
Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. What was your running pace? And the person's like, oh, like a 9:30 or 10:30. God, I was so slow. And I'm like, okay, but you're gassed, and you think you were running slow. That slow is not relative slow anymore. For you to
Yes.
say I was going 10:30, you're comparing yourself and putting a lot of pressure based off of what you think is slow because we're comparing ourselves to people who run what, 5 minute miles?
Right. Yeah.
Like that, it's not about that. It's about, okay, well, what feels easy
Hmm.
to you?
Hmm.
And so, I talked to this client and I was like, okay, slow it down even more. And so they're like, oh, gosh, but I'm like running like molasses. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, let's run like molasses. We repeated this process multiple times over. They got their pace down to like a 14:30, 15-minute mile. Slow,
Wow.
right? And then they started to like running.
Yes. Yes.
And because they started to like it, because they weren't trying to murder themselves every time that they were
Yep.
going out for a quote unquote slow run, they actually stayed consistent with it.
Yep.
And it's like if we let go of what we think it's supposed to look like, of, okay, I think being a runner looks like I run an 8-minute mile,
Hmm. Hmm.
then maybe we could actually get to the goal of being a runner, someone who consistently runs.
Yes. Yes.
The
Yes,
number of clients
exactly.
that I've seen that exact thing happen to and have become runners because they let go of the expectation of what that exactly looked like and just said, yeah, I run.
Mm. Hmm. It also makes me think of the question I often ask myself and my clients, which is, what would this look like if it were easy?
Yes, that's my favorite question of yours. I ask myself that
Yeah.
all the time too.
Yeah, because it just helps give you another perspective that you weren't considering. And you can tweak that too. What would this look like if I felt energized? What would this look like if it were fun? Whatever, but it
Yeah.
can help you
I
consider
love
other
that.
options.
I love that. We should say that again. Friends, if you are struggling with something, ask yourself, what would this look like if it was easy? Like literally any
Yes.
goal that you have right now, what would it look like if it was easy?
Yeah, think of
What would it
something
look like
right
if it was
now that
fun?
you've been struggling with. What would it look like if it were easy? Or maybe there are multiple ways it could look like if it were easy. And easy is relative, right? So, you gotta put a little bit of effort and you gotta get out of bed, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That brings up we're on the part of solutions now, right?
We're on the solutions. We're on the self-centered goal setting train.
So, to that end of what would things look like if it were easy, one of the ways that I make sure I create space for things being easy is I try to automate the things that are hard.
Yes.
And oh, yeah. So, an ironic example. So, I'm a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer for, I don't know, 7 years now, 8 years now. I don't know. It's been a long time. 7 years? I have like helped all people in all levels of fitness, from, the professional athlete to the person who, broke bones or has fucked up their back and hasn't been able to walk and now is trying to relearn fitness, like
Oh, wow.
all the levels, right? I don't write my own programming for myself. That's something that takes so much energy for
Yeah.
me. I
Yeah.
I use other people's programming on myself, not with my
Yeah.
clients. I put all of my energy towards programming for them based off the
Yeah.
knowledge and the education I've done. But when it comes to me getting my own workout in, if I have to write my own programming for me, I spend 2 hours, the 2 hours that I might have allocated towards getting the workout in, eating the food beforehand, eating the food after, getting a shower, and getting ready for the next task. That entire 2 hours goes towards me trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do in the gym. And then
What
I
do you
don't end
do
up doing it.
instead? How do you automate it? Do you automate
Yeah, so I find other people's programming. I mean, I
it?
have gyms that I've gone to and just utilize their programming for myself. I've
Yeah.
done the group classes at my own gym that someone else programs. I'll follow like home workout videos from online, like things that are just so like cookie
Yeah.
cutter bullshit, but it's a matter of trying to be consistent. Like that's my number
Exactly.
one thing is I need
Yes.
it to be easy because I don't have the brain space
Yes.
to try to figure
Right.
out, okay, what am I going to program? I just say,
Yeah.
okay, let's not. Let's let
Yeah.
someone else do that, and I'll just do
Yeah.
the hard part of doing the thing.
Right. And you might do that forever after, not do create your own programming. Or it could be that what you're doing is a prerequisite goal because I need to establish this habit and take out the mental strain and the time it takes to do my own programming. I'm going to do that
Yes.
consistently. And then once it's easy for me to consistently show up, then it's going to be, I can allocate that extra energy or focus that I have to doing my own programming.
Yes, it's a concept called decision fatigue.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have to pull away from the decision fatigue. So if you find that there are things that you're doing that exhaust you or that you find yourself procrastinating on, it's
Hmm.
probably because you've had to make too many decisions regarding them. You've run out of room. You don't have any more capacity. So remove the need for the decision.
Yes.
That's why people say that working out super early is super beneficial for them because they do it before their mind can talk them out of it. They're too tired to say. So like, and there have been seasons of my life where that's been super effective, where,
Yeah.
I had to do it at 5 in the morning
Well,
because
good for you.
I know,
Sorry.
and not everyone's like that, and that's totally okay. If you are energized by the decision to work out, then
Yeah,
that's probably
yeah,
not something that you'll experience decision fatigue for. But if
right.
you're not one of those people that are, okay, well, where can you structure it in the day where you don't have a choice? Like you
I
just
love
mentally
that.
can say, oh, yeah, I don't have to think about this. Let's just go and do it. Remove as many variables as possible.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, and again, that is moving away from perfectionism because perfectionism says it has to look this way. I'm also, this is my job. I'm an expert on this, and I could create the perfect thing. And why would I work out if I'm not doing the program that is ideal for me? Well,
Yeah.
because you need to get into the habit of it.
Yeah,
And you need to
exactly.
remove that decision fatigue so that you can do it. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. So I'm going to pause and let everyone listening think about what is something that you have decision fatigue around that you aren't doing or takes you longer to do or is a drag for you because maybe you're beholden to it needs to look this exact way or be perfect or whatever. What can you let go of and let it be good enough?
Yeah.
Or have, go on YouTube and in this example and just find a
Yeah.
program. Yeah,
Yeah. I
I
see
love
that
that.
too in meal prepping. So often in meal prepping, people can't decide what to
Oh,
cook. So
yeah,
I'm like a huge advocate of, okay, like now there's things like, Home Chef or Sunbasket where they just send you an already made
yeah,
menu and all the ingredients. Great. You don't have to
yeah,
think about it.
yeah,
Or,
exactly.
going to Whole Foods and they have kits that are just like pop it in the oven. Great. You don't have to think about it. It doesn't have to be this like cookie cutter. I'm going to make my chicken and broccoli and rice and I'm going to make it from scratch every single week. And
Yeah,
like, that's no fun.
yeah, yeah, because I meal plan every Sunday and sometimes I'm like, ugh, I don't have any recipes that are, that I want to make or I don't have any ideas. And I'm like, pick three proteins. And then pick whatever veggies are cheapest or look good when you're at the grocery store and pick two carbs and you can cycle them all week.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just gonna put them together.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be the chef's master plan.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So another way to get away from the all or nothing and perfectionism is to create habits slowly. I think it's called habit stacking. And I think this is
Oh,
actually a
yeah.
little bit what we're talking about, right?
I
Which
love
is,
that.
yeah. So that's like the prerequisite goals. It's just lots of different ways to say the same thing, which is, okay, how can I break this down into the smallest little amount and just what's step one? Okay, I'm going to keep doing that until it's autopilot. Then once
Hmm.
it's autopilot and it's easy to do, then I'm going to add on the next habit.
Yeah. And to add to habit stacking, the most effective habit stacking is stacking something on top of a habit that already exists.
Oh
So,
yeah. Great.
like one of the ways I use brushing your teeth. Everyone tends to brush their teeth at least once, hopefully twice a day. And that's a habit that most of us have already created. So if I have a client that needs to add a particular habit into their routine, maybe it's stretching their chest because they work at a desk and so they get really hunched shoulders and then their neck starts to hurt. Yeah. Allie just straightened up real quick in her chair, like, ah, shit, maybe that's me.
Yep, that is me.
So what I'll have people do is, okay, while you're brushing your teeth tonight, When you're brushing on your right side, I want you to be stretching that right arm against the door frame in the bathroom. And then when you're brushing on your left side, I want you to stretch that left arm in the door frame in the bathroom. And that gets you really quickly to say, oh, okay, well, I know that I'm, showing up to brush my teeth. I do this every night. Now I
Mhm.
can every day stretch my chest. And
Mhm.
then sometimes that will translate into, okay, well, I now have a nightly routine of stretching right before I go to bed and after I brush my teeth.
Yes.
And it started because I did it alongside the habit that already exists. And there's, I forget the exact statistics for it, but there is a much higher likelihood of success for creating a habit if you stack it off of one that already is there.
Nice. Love it. Good teamwork there.
We love that.
Okay. Also, incremental progress, which is
Okay.
similar, but just like that's a mindset thing that I think is healthy, right? Like,
Hmm.
I'm going to have incremental progress. Focus on actions instead of outcomes, which we
Yes.
talked about, right? So,
Yes.
I remember one time I was running a half marathon and this woman ran by me. It must have been pretty far in, maybe like 7 miles or something. And she was like, how do you look so happy? Like, why are you not struggling? Like, and I was like, well, I'm just focusing on breathing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just looking, and there were times when it was really hard. This is actually a really good time to use mindset, right? If I'm running a half marathon and it feels like my leg is broken, don't use mindset. But it's you can do this, keep going, you got this. And then, okay, I notice this cycling voice in my head saying, you need to stop. But it's not that I need to stop, it's just uncomfortable. So, okay, I'm just gonna focus on my breath. I'm just gonna focus on the next step. I'm just gonna be in the moment. I'm gonna create a rhythm with this. I'm gonna be in the music. And so for us, an example is the podcast, is that yep, we're just going to focus on picking the topic, preparing for the pod, and then recording the pod, and then
Yeah.
editing the pod, and then uploading the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that reminds me of, and I can't remember if I said this earlier or if I just thought it in my brain. If you have a goal, let's say the goal is for you to lose 30 pounds and to become a bikini competitor. Let's throw
Hmm.
that out there. And you're really excited about the on stage moment of being a bikini competitor. Can you see yourself as the person who does all the steps to become a bikini competitor? What does that look like? That looks like probably not going out to bars, because you can't really have any alcohol in your life as a bikini competitor, unfortunately. That probably looks like meal prepping multiple times a day. That looks like tracking all of your calories and macros down to the minutest grain of rice. That
Oh,
looks like weighing all of your food. That looks like doing daily check-ins with your coach. That looks like doing stage prep. That looks like wearing heels for extended periods of time, having revealing clothing for, your competition. And if you can't see yourself being the person that does those daily tasks, that doesn't feel in alignment with that, maybe the goal of being a bikini competitor is not actually what you resonate with and what would be
hmm.
realistic for you. And I think about that, for myself of, okay, there have been times where I'm like, well, I think about running. Running's a big one in my brain, but I think about like, okay, I want to run an ultra marathon one of these days.
Hmm.
That's like a long-term goal. Can I see myself as the person who would set aside 2 to 3 hours to run multiple times a week right now in the next year? And I'm like, no, actually, I can't see myself as the person who could set aside 2 to 3 hours to run multiple times a week this coming year. So I can't make that my goal this year. That's unrealistic. I
Hmm.
could see myself being the person who would set aside like 10 minutes and wouldn't necessarily track all their macros. And so maybe I'm becoming a hobby runner? And
Hmm.
it's just like looking at those conversations of not only is it the outcome, but
Hmm.
what is the process? And do you find yourself in alignment or willing to be in alignment with the process?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's making me think of what you said earlier of what did you say about I I'm remembering it as your goals aligning with your soul, but you were talking about your body aligning
Oh
with your
yeah, the body
soul.
aligning with your soul.
And as you're talking, it's making me think about, do your goals align with your soul in terms of, do you see yourself doing all of these things? How does that feel inside when you think
Yeah.
about doing that? And is that even realistic for you? And I think there's a lot of things that we can do. You know, if you really wanted to do that, you can do that. If that aligns with your soul, that's awesome. But if it doesn't align with your soul, you're not gonna follow through on it, or you're gonna follow through on it and be miserable.
Yeah. I think I mentioned setting things as a lifestyle. Like, could you do this forever?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
that was, and that goes. This is my little shameless plug as a fitness professional, but
Yeah.
don't start an eating plan that you don't see yourself doing forever. That's one of
Yeah.
my qualms with like keto and stuff like that. Is
Yeah.
most people who go that route are doing so as carb lovers, people who love all things carbs and sugar, and they're like, oh, let me try the keto diet. It'll fix me. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you love carbs and sugar. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be so sad. Like, you're gonna be bummed that you can't have the donut. Like, or
Aww.
so like that's why I could never do it. But finding things that are consistent with your beliefs and who you are as a human now, that's
Hmm.
gonna be more likely to stick.
Hmm. Or I think it's also reasonable if if moving towards your goal has multiple phases and there
Yeah,
are some time limited phases of something that would be unsustainable forever, but in that limited time you can do. So I'm thinking about Whole 30. I
yeah,
love Whole 30. That really helped me with my migraines. And when it makes more sense for me, I'll probably go back to it because I actually stopped because my ex did not want to cook for it, even though it was really improving my migraines. So Whole 30 is pretty strict for 30 days. Not like that
mhm,
75 hard thing you were talking about, but pretty strict for 30 days. But then it's okay, well, and now you're going to move into how does my everyday lifestyle look with this eating? And that lifestyle and what you decide to eat depends on each person based on their experiences during Whole 30
yeah.
and bringing certain things back in. So it's very individualized and intuitive for how does my body feel on this and eating for, what takes care of you, which should be a long term, and that would be sustainable because it takes better care of you than I'm just never going to eat a carb again, which is just
Yeah.
probably not good anyway. I mean, that's
No.
more your lane.
It's not. Carbs are fuel. Your body literally runs off of them. We need them. We so need them, especially
Yeah.
performance athletes.
Yeah. Okay. I got so many more notes.
We keep going.
Okay,
We
we're gonna
carry
keep going.
on.
It's okay. We are gonna do it. It might be a long episode. You can listen to it at little paces or not at all. It's
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, but this is important. Okay. So instead of going hard, you want to be realistic, sustainable. You want to think about what season of your life you're in. We've talked about all this. Um, you want to prioritize and think about managing what's on your plate. So, maybe this doesn't make sense right now, but it makes sense later. A lot of this is summary. Let's see. Ooh, direction is more important than speed.
Ah, I love that.
Wait, someone said that. Let me Google it real quick because direction is more important than speed because I'm assuming. Oh, yeah. Wait, no. Oh, Richard L. Evans. Who the heck are you, Richard L. Evans? Let me look it up because hopefully he's not like an awful person. I notice a lot of the times there's there will be these inspirational quotes that people put and then I go look up the person and it's like, oh yeah, that was a cult leader, like they all killed themselves at the end. Okay, so this is like a Mormon guy.
Okay.
Uh, okay, but we still agree with it, just so everybody knows. If you're Mormon, that's okay. I just hope you don't have OCD because I've met a lot of Mormons with OCD. And anyway,
Oh,
um,
interesting.
mostly because thoughts equal acts. So we can't help that we have automatic thoughts. And so if you literally have a thought that you didn't choose, that's like, ooh, that person's hot. and you're married, then you just committed adultery.
I see.
So that leads people to be terrified of their thoughts, and then that creates obsessive compulsive disorder in my experience as a
Oh,
therapist. So yeah, so and then it's really hard to treat because it's like like it's so hard because I'm like, this is
yeah.
what we need to do to treat it, and it's against your religion. But anyway, so sorry, Mormon guy, but also we agree with what you said. Direction matters more than speed. So it's like you don't need to go hard. It's just like, what is your intention? What is the direction that you're moving in? And let it take its own time. Be
Yeah.
patient, right? You're going into your chrysalis, you're an ooey gooey caterpillar. And if we rip open the chrysalis, you're not going to be a butterfly if you ain't a butterfly yet, you know? So we got to let you be a ooey gooey. Okay.
Ooh, first off, ooey gooey caterpillar. That's a visual I don't know if I needed, but
That's what happens. You know that, right?
no,
Like, yes,
oh
the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis and then becomes goo before it becomes a butterfly. No, I think that's so cool.
I don't know how I feel about that. Ooh, oh no. So
Anyway, what were
there.
you gonna say?
Hold on, I need to get the wiggles out
Oh,
now.
sorry.
It's
Katie
okay.
has
I'm
a
gonna
thing
have.
with insects. I should have known that.
Oh, it's
Sorry.
okay. It's okay. It's just the ooey gooey part. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
It, okay.
What was I saying?
Oh no.
Oh, okay. So, we tend to have ideas of how long a goal should take us to accomplish. And then just like you said, if we don't end up doing it in that time frame, it's like, oh, well, I failed. Didn't you make progress? Like, let's say the goal was to lose, 30 pounds in 90 days. That's not really a reasonable goal, but let's just say that was the goal. And you only lost 12 pounds in 90
Mm,
days.
hmm.
And you're like, oh, I failed. I didn't even get halfway. Why did I bother? I should just, and you quit everything that you're doing because you didn't see the progress at the speed that you wanted to see.
Right.
You still lost 12 pounds.
Yeah,
Like,
what the
doesn't
heck?
that
Be
feel
proud of
good?
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a client recently ask me, or not, we were just talking generally, and they were considering a hip replacement, and they're older. They're in their 80s. And they're like, "Ah, I don't really want to do this. I'm old." And I'm like, okay, like how much does this impact your quality of life right now? And they're like, well, it impacts it a lot. I can't really do much. And I'm like, okay, so why don't you want to do it? And they're like, well, I'm old and the recovery time will be a long time. I'm like, okay, how long do you envision yourself living? Let's say, based off of your current health, like just reasonable conversations. And they're like, well, I mean, probably into my 90s. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you envision another 15 years. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So 6 months of discomfort, that sucks. But is 15 years more or 14 and a half more years? Let's even be conservative, 13 to 14 years more of actually added valued life. Does that seem like something that you want, even if it took longer? And they're like, oh, well, yeah. And I'm like, well, maybe consider it more because just because you didn't get there as fast as you wanted to doesn't mean that it's not worth it. If the outcome is you get more value out of your life and it just took a little longer, that's not bad. And in fact, you probably built better habits along the way. So you probably made yourself better even more so because of it.
Aw. Yeah, it's might be worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone, like, you have to have that conversation with yourself of like, is the delayed gratification of something right now worth it to me? If I was training for a very specific goal, let's say a Spartan race, I compete in obstacle course racing. And let's say I had a race coming up in a month and I wanted to be at peak performance level because I wanted to place in my Spartan race. Let's say that was on the table. Reasonably, it sucks to abstain from, unhealthy food or from like a cocktail night or it sucks to have to get up early to do extra training, and those things by themselves I'm not discouraged by. But if I feel really good about, oh yeah, in a month I get to the potential of accomplishing this goal, I'm actually kind of happy about, well, me choosing not to do these other things is allowing me to also choose myself and the thing that makes me happy. And that outcome is something that I would be thrilled about. So it's like
Hmm.
you still get to choose
Hmm.
on both sides, and that kind of helps you endure the hard thing.
Right. Yeah, and the feeling of achieving a goal is so incredible. I mean, you want to make sure it's the right goal, but oh my
Hmm.
God, it's so worth it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love it. So, just to finish off, instead of going hard, incorporate rest and recovery. Incorporate
Yes.
little celebration milestones. Have self-compassion. Reflect on how was this going? Is there anything I need to shift or change? All right, moving on to when it's uncomfortable, we want to give up.
Yeah.
So, how do you not give up? Think ahead of time what might happen, right? You know yourself, like what might get in the way? What are potential barriers that will come up? What might feel uncomfortable? And then make a plan to cope with them. How am I going to cope with them, right? So instead of thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to push right through that. Okay, no. You need to know, how am I going to deal with that? So when I have self-critical thoughts, or when I think to myself, I could just do it tomorrow, and really, it's not going to hurt you to do it today. Just don't think about it, just do it. Um, that could be your plan. Or for me, it is officially winter. It was 20 degrees today. It was freaking
Ooh.
cold. Yeah.
Oh
And
no.
I was like, okay, I know for sure that I'm not going to want to go outside as much as I want to. I mean, my dog needs it as well, but I really do want to get a weighted vest and do some walking because I think that's going to help me that's my habit stacking is now when I walk the dog, I'm going to put a weighted vest on. So that's my first
Yeah.
stack.
I love
And
that.
I know that it's better for me to be out there for longer. So, okay, what can encourage me to be out there for longer? And it's okay, well, I actually have these heated socks that from when I used to snowboard, and I'm going to use those. So it's just like that's going to be part of my plan. Or it might be, okay, well, when it's really disgusting out and it's hailing, then what are you going to do as a backup? And so
Yeah.
for me, it's I'm going to play with the dog inside, and then I'm going to do a 15-minute YouTube, little cardio thing or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I have a plan now. I know I'm going to have these days where I just don't feel like doing it. So how can I get ahead of it, make myself more likely to want to do it? And then how can I get ahead of it for those days that I'm like, yeah, I still don't want to? And I have my backup plan and my way of coping with it. And also, I think it's really important to remember that setbacks and falling off the bandwagon, that's part of progress, actually,
Hmm.
as long as you learn from it.
Yes.
Because when you fall off, there's a reason. And
Hmm.
so instead of, oh my gosh, I'm a failure and getting into that, it's okay, there's a reason that this happened. Let me think through what that might be. And maybe you need to talk to one of the trusted people in your life who can be a clear mirror for you and help reflect back for you to identify what that is. But there's something that you are not aware of that's getting in the way of your goal. And so instead of giving up, that's actually an opportunity because yay, progress. I identified something that will get in the way of this. That's the first step to figuring out what it is and then making a
Hmm.
coping plan or getting help to move around it.
Ooh, okay. There's so many things that I think we need to pause on with this. I'm hoping I can remember them all. So, first thing, that starts to have a lot of self-reflection conversations is if you're coming up with hurdles consistently and it seems to be the same hurdle over and over and over, you probably should ask yourself, one, is this a hurdle because of a negative attribute that I need to work on or because of an unrealistic expectation hurdle that I just need to adjust around? A negative thing, let's say I'm looking at like meal planning and weight loss. I'm again fitness person looking at fitness goals. Let's say I have a goal of losing a bunch of weight and I notice that I keep falling off my meal plan because of my alcohol intake. Okay, is the alcohol intake a conversation around I have coping problems and I'm avoiding things? and the alcohol is a coping strategy that I've been using in an unhealthy way. Therefore, I can't stick with my goals because I don't feel good with myself. Okay, that's something that you need to address, right? And that highlights self-reflection. You got to go and reflect internally and say, okay, is this something that I'm reaching to because there's something else going on? That would be, I need to change that specific route. Flip side, if it's a really positive thing and it's like, okay, um, let's still say drinking is the thing that's getting me off of my goals. And it's related to social outings, and it makes me feel really good in that environment that I'm having a great time connecting with people. Okay, well, how can I adapt this piece to make it reasonable within my goals? Okay, if I'm saying that my calorie allotment is XYZ a day, and I know that drinking is only happening within a social setting, well, then let's start structuring when that's happening and saying, okay, that's, on a Friday night. For me personally, I don't drink during the week. I don't drink on the weekend, except I do have cocktails on a Friday night with my partner because that's something that brings me joy. I like tasting new cocktails. But guess what? If I don't like the cocktail, I don't finish it. So I'll take a
Yeah.
sip. If I'm like, yeah, that's great. Awesome. I'll finish my cocktail. I always have a limit. My limit is always 2 to 3. It's never more than 3. That's just it. We're done. And I never drink more than the one time a week. And then we move on. And I build that into my eating habits. So on that Friday, hey, guess what? We need to be, eating things that are supportive of my goals. And my flex moment happens in that social time with my partner because that's something that we, find joy in together. That doesn't mean I go off the handle. Okay, so that's the
Yes.
one thing that I wanted to bring up. The second thing though is know the consequences of falling off the wagon. And that's not meant to be a bad thing. And I think specifically to perfectionists here, because when we're a perfectionist, we, freak out over making a misstep along the way. So let's go back to the meal planning goal of, okay, well, I have this goal of with eating, 1,800 calories a day, and these are my macros. And let's say you started your meal plan period right before Thanksgiving. Whew, I mean, Thanksgiving is obviously a day where you're going to be eating more food. And a perfectionist who's trying to have a goal of eating healthier is going to feel really guilty and really frustrated with themselves for having done their whole indulgent Thanksgiving. And then they're going to say, oh, God, I fucked it up. I'm just not going to be able to do anything else. So I should just quit. Or this even comes up more often. Let's say you go out for brunch and you have a donut at your brunch date. Then you said, oh, well, the whole day is a waste.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to eat whatever for the rest of the day. That's not how that works. How it works is you can acknowledge that you made a choice based off of something in that moment, and you can choose right then and there to say the rest of the day is going to be better. On top of that, even if I went full ham on Thanksgiving, I actually had a client come to me with this today. They were beating themselves up because they gained 2 to 3 pounds since the Thanksgiving day. And again, this was what, less than a week ago? Actually, 1 week ago. Okay. And the only day that they went crazy, and
In
crazy, I'm saying in
quotes,
quotes.
just for
Yeah, sorry,
because
I
people
forgot we're
can't
not
see, you
on
should go
video.
crazy in quotes.
Yeah, crazy was they, ate more carbohydrates and more fats than they normally would, and it happened just on Thanksgiving, and then maybe, the leftovers meal on Friday. But then after that, they were back to normal, right? And they're beating themselves up over these 3 pounds that they gained. And so if I'm looking from a science perspective, 3 pounds, gaining 3 pounds would have meant that I had to eat over 9,000 calories above and beyond my daily requirement to
Whoa.
gain 3 pounds. So then, if I know that information, I'm going to look back on my Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving. I'm going to say, did I eat 9,000 calories? It would actually be like 10,500, but still, did I eat that many calories above and beyond my requirements? No, unlikely. Very unlikely that I ate 10,000 more calories in a day and a half that caused me to gain 3 pounds. So then what do I have to ask myself is, well, why did I gain these 3 pounds? One, you were surrounded by family that might not be the most positive environment in your life. And this client did reiterate that actually. Before I even, told them this information, they said, well, I was around these family members that were really negative Nancy's and it was a really stressful environment and it wasn't actually the most exciting Thanksgiving. I'm like, oh, okay, so you actually were really uncomfortable for that holiday. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, huh, okay. And then after that, you were beating yourself up over that, and your Thanksgiving food also probably had more salt. So you tended to bloat and retain water weight. And they're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So your body has a stress response,
Mm,
and you then increase your cortisol levels when you've had a negative experience. And then you tend to hold on to weight. That's not real weight against quotation marks. That's not weight that is true and indicative of your body. That's weight that is going to fall off in about a week and a half when your stress levels go down. And I'm like, you
yeah.
don't need to beat yourself up over this. You're doing everything right. You had one indulgent day where you probably ate 1,000 to 1,500 calories above and beyond your norm. Okay, that's maybe half a pound. So if you saw the scale go up half a pound, that's reasonable. And if you're also working out, every day and or every other day, you'll probably lose that in like a week and a half. Like that's not something to beat yourself up over. So knowing the consequence of each failure, so to
Yeah.
speak, will help you to determine, okay, did I really fall off the wagon? Or am I just experiencing life and I can continue forward?
Mm, hmm. Yes. I'm thinking about how different the approach would be. So that's type A perfectionist. A
Yeah.
type B person, not that there's just two types, but it's just easy to call it that for sake of communication. So for someone who's t more type B, the idea that, oh, it's okay, no big deal, they could overuse that.
Yes.
Right? So the solution for one person actually is the detriment for another person. So that's why it's so important to not take advice wholesale. And again, connect back to yourself. What are my tendencies, my patterns, my habits? Is it working? And so
Yes.
for a perfectionist, if you're beating yourself up about things that don't matter, and then beating yourself up is just going to further get in the way of your goal,
Yeah.
then you want to remind yourself that not a big deal, it's fine. And accept the exceptions, right? The flex days, you probably want to build those in actually. It's going to be a lot more sustainable that way. And so that's really important for the more type A perfectionist type of patterns. But then the more type B patterns, it's like, okay, you're making a lot of exceptions and now they're the rule.
Yeah.
Is that
Hmm.
working for you or is that getting in the way? And so
Yeah.
for if you're more that type of person, then you recognize that and you actually take the decision fatigue out of it and you say, okay, this is my flex day. And other than that, I'm actually going to be more rigid.
Yes.
And when I start talking myself out of it and saying it's not a big deal, I'm going to redirect my attention back to just do it, focus on something else, right?
Yeah.
So it's so important to know yourself,
Which is again self-centered. This is entire fucking podcast.
which is the whole point of why we're here.
Right? But that is true, is like know yourself and know what your pitfalls are and
Yes.
then know how to address that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everyone, stick with us. We got a few more things left. All right. If it isn't your goal and it's someone else's, you gotta acknowledge that. That's the first step. So as I say that, if there's anything that just came into your mind or any little feeling that happened in your body when you think about your goals, and I say, is this your goal or someone else's? If there's any little niggling something there, give yourself the time and space to feel it, to sit with it, to reflect on it, to talk to a trusted clear mirror person who's going to reflect back to you because you want to align your goals with your personal values and your core desires. Having a deeper sense of purpose and intrinsic motivation is going to make it so much easier to stick to your goals. So you can even ask yourself, why do I want this? What is this
Yeah.
going to do for me? What makes this feel so good? And then you'll probably know. Anything about that?
No, but I love that. I
Okay.
do. I think that really connects you to yourself is I actually have that I just saw this. I have that written down too. It, I have mine written as start with dreaming.
Oh,
I know. So like
I
if you
was dreaming everybody hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and dream.
no, it's true though. And that's actually
I'm
one
not
of the
making fun of it. I
I
love
know.
being a hippie.
But one of the questions that I ask prospective clients when they meet with me during consults is if you could envision your ideal self that feels like so good, and
Yeah.
again, you have to be the person that you're seeing in that vision. It's not someone else. Like you
Yes.
can't be superimposing your face onto someone else right now. You have to see, okay, is this me that I'm seeing? But if you could envision your ideal person, what would that look like? And how
Yeah.
would that feel? And that's what I have people base their goals off of. And typically what that results in is not actually a physical goal. Because again, we look back at that list of New Year's resolution, and most of them were lose weight, walk more, run more, eat healthier, that sort of thing. And it's like, okay, but what does it do for you? Like, what does your day-to-day life look like now that you've achieved that goal? And what does that feel like? Most of my clients are then connecting to, oh, well, I'm able to run outside with my kid and keep up with them when we play tag. Or I'm able to take my dogs
Mm-hmm.
on hikes and help them to see things that they weren't able to see before. Or I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to, I don't know, keep up with my significant other in passions that they're really interested in. Or I'm able to just feel confident in my body and myself, and I feel, happy to look in the mirror
Yeah.
and to see
Yeah.
myself in life. And it's like, okay, can you connect to those actual things, not just this like arbitrary goal of, oh yeah, I need to lose 30 pounds.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. It also just came to me of sometimes we don't set goals or try to achieve goals because of other people's judgments.
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
So I love clothes and fashion, and I haven't really prioritized that the last few years because it just hasn't made sense financially. And one of the reasons that I want to get fitter is because I would like my clothes look better.
Yeah.
And again, do my clothes need to look a certain way, or do I need to look a certain way for me to feel like I have value? No, right? It's not there are unreasonable pressures and societal expectations for beauty of women. And that's not what it's about. It's more about, I also love interior design. I'm a visual person. So
Hmm.
just like I love for my home to look a certain way, and that feels so good for me, me looking a certain way and the way that like curating an appearance for
Hmm.
myself or different vibes just feels so good and fun. But I think a lot of people might judge that and be like, oh,
Yeah.
you literally want to lose weight or build muscle or get fitter for appearances. That's vain. That's superficial. And so then you might actually dim your light and not actually work on that goal. And
Yeah.
that's also you not being self-centered. And I
Yeah.
saw this week, have to try to find the link for it for the original study so that we can put it in the show notes. I'm pretty sure this is what it said. Trans people, if you do brain scans, they've done brain scans and they found that the gender that they transitioned to was the brain activity was consistent with the brain activity of a cisgender person
Yeah. Hmm.
that they transitioned to.
Yeah.
And I just think about transphobia and our culture and how people won't move toward the goal of being more themselves and presenting more as themselves.
Yeah.
And literally, I mean, we have this seeing is believing thing, right? Like if we can't see it, we don't believe it. But now we got the brain scans,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And we shouldn't have to have the brain scans, but we have the
Yes.
brain scans.
Yeah. Yes. All true. All true.
Yeah. So did you see that too?
No, I haven't, but I hear it. I mean, I work in a gym with a large group of people that have different what's the word?
Gender identities.
Thank you for that. Yes, different gender identities. And so much of it is about becoming in alignment their
Hmm.
body becoming and that's part of
Hmm.
what I meant too. It
Hmm.
wasn't just a weight loss thing. It's like, okay, does your body align with your soul? Who
Hmm.
are you? Like,
Yeah.
and are you represented in
Yeah.
the appearance that you're presenting?
Yes.
And so many people's mental health and
Yeah.
life improves when it's
Yes.
consistent with who
Yes.
they are inside.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
for
who is
sure.
anyone to determine what that is except for the person who's living that life?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think LGBTQ people who are out and themselves are the fucking self-centered pioneers.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of the reasons I love working there. Is
Oh
because
my
I'm
God.
around a bunch of
Yeah.
authentic individuals that just they are who they are and it's so
Oh,
fun.
yeah, yeah. And they live in a culture and society and often families and communities that don't accept them. And
Yeah.
yet they somehow found themselves and stayed true to themselves.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh my
my
gosh, yeah.
gosh. Whew,
You're doing the
okay.
real hard work there.
Oh,
My LGBTQ friends.
yeah, we love you.
Yes.
And we support you big
Yes.
time.
Hmm.
Okay, two left. So, if it isn't the right time and you aren't ready, guess what? It's not the right time and you aren't ready. So don't effing do it. Does this make sense? Is this a good time? Does it make sense in this season of life? How will this impact my other goals in this season of life? What's my
Yeah.
priority, right? Okay, and then last one's mindset. And now I get to show you all that I am not 100% negative about mindset. Mindset is important, right? The way that we think is important. So we just want to have emotional honesty. So mindset is fine as long as you have emotional honesty, as long as you can acknowledge those emotions, you can tune to your intuition, reflect on what's going on internally. That's great. Mindsets that are really helpful for goal setting and achieving goals are mindsets that cultivate resilience. So, Katie talked about it before. It's the and. So, I'm feeling this way. It feels really uncomfortable. And here's how I'm going to cope with it. Here's how I'm going to support myself. Maybe I realize I need to take a day off. Maybe I need to rest and recover. Maybe this isn't right for me, but I'm going to cultivate resilience. And so I can focus on, yes, this is hard and it's really important to me. So how can I move forward?
Yeah.
Prioritize alignment over positivity
Yes.
and appreciate the journey as a whole as part of your growth. So the journey of the successes that are part of the journey matter as much to the growth as the tough parts, as what you learn about yourself in the process. This is all about evolution, and we want to appreciate it all. It's just another and, right? We don't need to separate these hard moments or hard feelings. We can incorporate it all.
Hmm.
And I just wanted to share that I think mindset is really fun when you're feeling very discouraged. Things are getting in the way of your goals outside of you that you have no influence over. That's when being Delulu is the Salulu. Okay.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna need you to explain that again.
So I'm gonna give you an example, and it has to do with how I ended up living with Katie. So,
Oh, I like
yes.
this. Tell me more.
Okay, so when I moved to San Diego, I lived with my friend for the first month. I was actually house sitting and pet sitting while she was visiting Vermont because we met in grad school here in Vermont. And then she moved to San Diego. So I was staying there for the month while I looked for a roommate and for a place to live. And I'm looking, and it's like 3.5 weeks. And it's not ideal living at my friend's house because there isn't a room for me. I'm in her office and she works from home as a therapist. So when she comes back, do I think maybe we can make it work for another few days? Yeah, but I need to get out. I need
Yeah.
I need my own space and she needs her own space. She has a husband, she has kids, she's got a job, right? And so there's a lot of pressure. And I am meeting potential roommates. I'm seeing their places. It's not fitting for me. It's just is not good. I'm starting to freak out. San Diego is so expensive.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, do I really want to spend this much money to live with someone that I think is kind of sketchy, or I just don't, I can just intuitively feel that it's not right. And prior to that, I had actually, that's not exactly true because the roommate right before that, who I lived with for 6 months, was when I started actually tuning into my intuition instead of acting on fear of, well, I need a
Oh,
roommate right
yeah.
away to feel secure. So I'm just going to go with whatever is first, whoever I
Yeah.
meet first. So I'm doing that again in San Diego. And I'm just like, oh gosh, do I need to actually override this feeling and just suck it up and so I start getting in my head, arguing with myself. Oh, you can make it work. It's fine. San Diego isn't as cold as Vermont. Like you can just like exercise a lot outside. You can just go to the beach a lot, you know? And I'm like, no, I know that it's not going to be good for me to live with any of these people. So being Delulu was the Solulu because okay, so just to be clear, delusion is when you believe things that aren't based in fact or concrete data or evidence, right? And sometimes, being delusional isn't healthy or helpful, but sometimes it is helpful. So I just decided to tell myself and just believe without any evidence that the universe, right? So again, I'm being delusional, right? So this is where spirituality comes in. So,
Okay. Okay. I'm
so
following now.
the universe is just bringing me and the right person together. And when I meet them, I'm going to know and I'm going to be sure. And there was the emotional honesty of, okay, there is a signal here in my thinking and my concern that I need to find a roommate soon. I don't have forever to find a roommate. So I need to make a backup plan if I don't meet my right roommate. So I talked to my friend and said, hey, can we talk about a plan B so that just in case this doesn't work out, we have a plan B for me living here and making it work.
Yeah.
So we did that. And then I remain delusional. And I'm just like meeting these people and the negative feelings of like, oh, I'm never going to meet the roommate come in. And I'm like, no, you are. Like your perfect person is out there. Like your soulmate roommate's out there, which is so funny because the way that Katie and I met was on a Facebook group for roommates in San Diego. And one
Yeah.
of the things that I put was, I want to make sure that I'm living with someone who there's no pressure to become friends with. And
Yeah.
that was super important to me because I have had experiences in the past where my roommate just automatically, just I guess with any roommate, they had an expectation that you were going to be really close and hang out all the time. And that is not a good fit for me. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I really want someone who it doesn't need to be friends, but if we become friends, great, whatever. But there's
Yeah.
no pressure. We live our own lives, whatever. And I also really would love to live with dogs because I figured that I was going to be moving back to Vermont 3 years later, was what I was thinking. And so I didn't want to have to drive a dog across the country. And so I'm like, oh, maybe I can find a roommate with dogs. So Katie and I meet, and I knew like immediately. And there was so much intuitively, like, remember you were, I forget what it was. You said something about your ex, and I was like, did he abuse you? Which I would never say. I would
Yeah.
never say that to a stranger, but I was so connected to my intuition and like really paying attention to red light, green light when I was with you. And I just felt this connection, and I feel like almost I knew things about you.
Yeah.
And then you brought Luna, your husky, and
Yeah.
she was being
Who's
a
here
little
with us
weirdo.
now, by the way?
Aww.
She's
Yeah.
sleeping at my feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So staying delusional actually allowed me to not give in to the fear that wasn't real, right? Like
Yeah.
that fear wasn't actually a reflection of a threat. So it actually kept me from just settling. And then I ended up meeting you. Obviously, it's so funny that I'm like, we don't need to be friends. And now like you're my co-host,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
best friend, like, oh my God. Yeah. So I really think mindset, like it's okay to just make shit up and believe it. And if it feels good, that's
Mhm.
totally fine. You just want to make sure that you're not doing that to avoid real things that matter or to
Right.
avoid something that your intuition is telling you or to disconnect yourself from messages that you need to act on.
Yeah. Okay. Essentially, what I'm getting from this is like you're deferring the desire to jump.
Yes. Due
Like to
due
jump.
to fear that isn't founded in
Yeah.
reality. Yeah.
So, oh yeah, it's almost like this is going to be a stretch, but it's almost like when there's a public speaking engagement and you're not a public
Yes.
speaker, and that makes you want to vomit.
Yeah.
And so you're like, yeah, I just want to like I want to jump out of my skin. I want to
Yeah.
go vomit. I just want to leave this. But then you do the thing, and after like a minute of getting comfortable in there, and you're like, okay, okay, I can get through this, and then you
Yeah.
leave it, and you're really proud of yourself. Had I just gone and vomited like, and walked away from it, it wouldn't have felt so good. And it wasn't
No.
really anything that was going to cause me true harm. I
Yes.
was just nervous about it.
Yeah. And you could be delusional in that moment in a healthy way, in a
Yeah.
healthy mindset way by saying, everyone's going to love everything I say. And if I make a
Yeah.
mistake, they're going to be like, oh my God, they're so human. That feels so good to hear all these things that this person's saying, and they're so smart, and this is so valuable, and they're imperfect. Oh my God, that
Yeah.
makes me feel like I can be myself and mess up and make mistakes. So literally, you could just tell yourself shit, and there's going to be people in the audience who are like, what the fuck is this girl talking about? She doesn't know what she's talking about. And guess what? I don't give a fuck about them. I'm
Yeah.
focusing on the people who love what I'm saying. And I also did something similar when I moved to San Diego because I knew I was going to have to meet new people during freaking COVID
The
pandemic when
pandemic.
it's
Oh my
harder. And I was
gosh.
working remotely. And I told myself that everyone I meet loves me and wants to be my friend.
I mean, it's kind of true though.
Well, and it also,
Can
I mean, like,
confirm. But I do
thank
follow what
you.
you're saying.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and psychologically it's good because it makes you're not nervous, and so you're so much more open and you can be so much more present when you're meeting people. So you can just really actually connect with them
Yeah.
versus, oh, what do they think of me, whatever. And so I was just very much, oh yeah, I'm completely myself and they all love me. Knowing not everyone's gonna love me, and the people who don't love me when I'm completely being myself, they're not going to love me. And so that's a built-in filter for the people who aren't me. But it feels good in the moment to be delusional and just be like, yeah, everyone loves me. I'm the best. They just want to hang out with me all the time.
Yeah. This might be off topic and we might cut this out of the podcast. I don't know. But
Okay.
do you feel like people without anxiety can be delulu as a solulu? Because like I feel like my
Yes.
anxiety is what grounds me sometimes in terms of those thoughts of like, okay, if I'm saying to myself, yeah, you're the fucking best at this. You're a winner. You accomplish everything that you set out to do. And my anxiety is what says, hey, by the way, don't forget that like you got to really work on this shit and like you have to be educated and you have to like know that this is going to take a lot of time and effort and a lot of work and you're not the perfect fit for everyone.
Well, I mean, my question would be when you're telling yourself, oh, I'm the best, I'm so great, and all of that, what is the impact of that mindset and that self-talk on your behavior? Because if the impact is that then you're like, all right, whatever, I'm not going to do anything, then I'm not going to put any effort in,
Okay.
then that's not helpful, and you want to do the and.
Yeah.
I'm so great. I'm so talented, and it's regularly showing up and following through on X, Y, and Z that allows me to maintain that.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
So, but you said people without anxiety.
Yeah, so people who
So,
are just like comments, which I can't relate to. I don't understand. So help me. Help me understand that. Like people without the internal self-talk, like without an internal dialogue. You ever hear about the people, some
I
people just
have
have
heard
empty.
about that.
I don't
I have.
understand. I don't know. How do you not have thoughts in your head constantly? I don't know.
I'm very curious about the research on that and if there's any research on if you don't if people don't have the internal narrative, the internal dialogue because they're just cut off
Oh
from
yeah.
what's there? Or is it just naturally they don't have that? Um, but I don't know, like dogs don't have an internal dialogue and they're just very present in the moment. Katie, Luna does. She's very
I'm gonna
talkative.
disagree with that. Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with that. Go follow all the fucking dogs that have buttons, okay? They,
That's
it's
true.
it's
That's
an
interesting.
existential crisis. All right.
I'm reading a
Which,
book right now called Your Dog is Your Mirror.
oh,
And
I think
y-
that's true.
I think it's true too. It talks about though how its language is emotions and intuition and not thoughts.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious about how that aligns with the buttons and what the buttons mean to them. Because just
Well,
because it says a word that means something to humans and that gets them something, I don't know that that means, I don't know, the same thing to the
so
dog.
there's a whole bunch of there's lots of books that are being written about this right now
Oh,
because
cool.
the buttons were actually part of a study done by I believe it's UCSD in San Diego of over 1,000 participants that were teaching their dogs language, right?
Yeah,
And you can envision that, okay, well, it's a trained habit, right? That we've taught them a
right.
word, it means this one thing. They know that they
Yeah,
get something when this one thing is pressed. What's interesting through the study is that they're determining that dogs are actually creating new meanings for this word, for each word.
yeah,
And so words that are things that they don't have words for,
yeah.
they have created based off of basically pulling context from the board. One of the first things that comes to mind is there's this dog, what about Bunny? Bunny is the dog, it's a sheepadoodle. And Bunny creates a word, it's night talk. She was talking about her dream.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's really interesting. She had said it multiple days over, like night talk. And the owner, Alexis, she didn't really understand what is night talk? Were we talking in our sleep? Like, and through probing multiple times, and the researchers like encouraged Alexis, okay, when you hear her making sounds while she's sleeping, can you gently wake her up and see if we can elicit this conversation and if she starts talking, saying night talk. And
yeah.
she did. And
Oh,
then, yeah, and then they were actually able to figure out what the dreams were by having conversations about, okay, well, what night talk? What night talk?
what
What
are her
happens in your nighttime?
dreams?
Stranger animal. She's an anxious, reactive dog. And when she was whimpering in her sleep, she was dreaming about a stranger animal. I know, so tragic. This,
Funny.
yeah, existential crisis for Bunny. But yeah, it's crazy. But and then there were other things like her creating the word for like eating dinner. She would say bird belly because her food was chicken. She was able to context. I guess there's because I mean dogs see the world through scent, right?
Yeah.
And there's probably some congruencies across the avian culture that the bird, the seagull that she smells in at her beach home has some similarity to the chicken that's in her dinner. And so when she wanted food, she would say bird go belly. Yeah, yeah, and it's just like it's crazy stuff like that that I'm like, oh no, there's definitely stuff going on in there. Like,
Yeah.
now, is that because, the owner brought awareness and enlightenment to the dog by giving them words to contextualize experiences? I don't know. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
going down a whole rabbit hole.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, are we it is the dog's brain being wired for these new abilities? Oh, that's so
So are
cool.
we evolving dogs?
I mean,
No, dogs
I
have
mean, we
buttons.
definitely are because of domesticated breeds,
For sure, for sure.
but yeah, I know what you mean, like in these other ways. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
whole rabbit hole to dive down.
I think people who don't have anxiety can definitely be delusional and it can be helpful for sure. Because anxiety often keeps you from moving toward goals or reaching toward goals because you have self-doubt, you worry about things that is tiring, there's less effort to put into that, or you just avoid it because of anxiety. So, yeah, I do think then being delusional Oh yeah, I got this. I mean, there's so this is a little bit different than what you asked because people who meet criteria for narcissistic personality disorder or people who are higher on the narcissistic spectrum, I would say they definitely have anxiety. They're maybe just not aware of it.
Okay.
However, there is research that the more narcissistic someone is, the more likely they are to be successful and influence people because they are so quote unquote self-confident. They
Right.
they communicate and project self-confidence, which is really coming from their ego. It's not coming from their authentic self, but people buy into that, and then that makes them more likely to be successful and influential.
Hmm.
So, and that's delusional. I mean, and narcissism is for sure a lot of delusion there. So it is helpful in moving towards your goals, whether or not those goals are ethical or aligned with our values is a different conversation.
Very true.
Yeah. Okay. We gotta wrap this up.
We do got to wrap this up.
All
Okay.
right.
Before we wrap this up, sorry. But this goes along with wrapping things up. I had someone ask me today, well, how do I set goals for
You're like
2025?
perfect.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
the
like,
topic I'm
yeah, I
recording
know, right?
opportunity.
I mean, we've covered this throughout the episode today, but my advice to them, and I think it reigns true here, is think of a feeling or a theme for what you want for 2025 to accomplish. For me, I want to have better boundaries and I want to be consistent. That's my general theme is
Ooh.
consistency and boundaries. Use that theme to inform your small goals along the way with, like you said, flex. How do we flex within those? So for me, my goal in 2025, sounds ridiculous, but is to have weekends off, to have a Saturday and a Sunday consecutively, 2 days off in a row.
Good.
Because right now I work too much.
Yeah.
And to have a couple nights off a week, because right now I still work too much. So that's one of my goals. Is there a timeline on it? I've put a goal date for it. I'm okay with it being flexible. But when I leave 2025, I want to say I have more time and space for myself. And what does that look like? Well, that requires me to stand up for myself and say, I'm not going to give away myself and give away the time that I've given myself. And my secondary goal that aligns with consistency is I want to be exercising regularly again this coming year. Because right now I haven't been because I've gotten out of my seat and I've given away all of my time for the
Yes.
sake of one, okay, it helped me build my business. That's great. But unfortunately, it doesn't serve me anymore because it's taking me out of my seat consistently. So if I want to have a habit of exercising again, what does that look like for me? Well, it's probably going to be 2 to 3 times a week is my realistic goal. And if there are weeks that I'm doing, 4 to 5 times of exercise, whether that's strength or cardio or whatever it is, cool. But ultimately, when I leave 2025,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking at the end of the year, I want to
Yeah.
say, yeah, I'm moving 3 to 4 times a week.
Love that.
Yeah, that was my
As you're
tidbit.
as you're talking, I was like, what are my freaking goals? I think my living situation is a little bit up in the air, so my goals depend on that because I don't know what my limitations will be or what I have access to or don't have access to. So since I don't know that, I don't know exactly how my goals will look. However, it's very important to me that I do some consistent formal meditation, and that will probably look like committing to 2 minutes a day initially until and connecting that to a habit that I already have and taking out the decision fatigue and just 2 minutes of focusing on my breath,
Yeah.
just to build that habit. And I am going to get a weighted vest so that I can add that to walking the dog because no matter what my life looks like, that's something I can do. And I'm starting there, and then we're going to see what my living situation looks like because then I can decide.
So curious, why is the living situation conversation not part of your New Year goal?
Oh, figuring out
Your
the living situation? Oh, I guess
Yeah.
it is. I guess that was like so obvious to me. Like I felt like it went without saying, but I guess I should say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is 100%. Yeah. A goal is figuring out where am I going to be living? And if it's where I am right now, then there are going to be strategies that I'll have in place or things that I'll set up for myself to make that work until I leave. If it's going to be somewhere else, then there'll be a plan around that. And so, yeah, I'm waiting to hear right now on whether or not I have access to another place. And if I do, then I'm going to get into planning mode for that. And if I don't, then it's going to be figuring out what this looks like. Yeah.
I think that highlights something is just generally like be aware of the obvious because like that is a really valuable New Year goal. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the traditional New Year resolutions, which
True.
is like, okay, I got to lose weight, I got to get healthy, I got to eat, better, I got to exercise, that sort of thing. And it's like, if that doesn't actually align with what would benefit you most, like what I hear from you tends to be you want your space
Oh, yeah.
and
That's so important.
freedom to create your life
Yeah.
in a way
Yeah.
that's
Having my
consistent
own
with you.
space that I have full control over
Yeah.
so important for me and what keeps me connected to myself and just being able to create my own routines. And yeah, and I'm a little bit limited right now in that.
Yeah.
So, but I know for sure that in 2025, I will at some point be in a different place. I just don't know when.
Yeah.
But I have influence over that. So, all right. So we hope that you all think through your own goals and what gets in the way of them during this episode, and that you can set goals that make sense for you, are aligned with who you truly are, and that center you as you're working toward them so that you don't compromise yourself and who you
Yeah.
really are in the process. Well, happy end of 2024 and welcome 2025. All right. Bye, y'all.
See you in the new year.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Follow us on Instagram at selfcentered.pod or connect with us at selfcenteredthepod@gmail.com.
Stay self-centered and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.